Hello, gorgeous Pisces. Welcome to November 2019. This is a month of mystical surprise. It's not about forcing things to happen on the external in the way we expect them to. It is definitely more of a time to lean into our intuitive center and to listen to the small details and how they lead us forward. Of course, you all have an advantage because the sun moving through Scorpio and Scorpio season in that water logic really lights you up. It illuminates you. It works well with you. There is this big Mercury retrograde happening in Scorpio most of November, so it goes all the way till November 18th. And what that's doing is it's helping us all get out of the analytical forward motion, move, and trust into the mystical a little bit more. So you all already have a tap into that. However, Pisces, this is a month that is kind of challenging you and asking you, hey, are you checking in with that part of yourself? Because, I know it seems normal. I know you think you're doing it, but sometimes you forget and you get caught up in the big external world, just like anybody does. And this month is going to make sure, hey, are you checking in with that part of yourself, with your big, warm, open heart? Or have you gotten more into the spiky side of yourself? And if you have, if that's been something that's been coming up for you the last several months, this is going to be a month where you are challenged to check in with why are you feeling so spiky and mournful or frustrated, and leaning back into the trust. Right, so that Mercury retrograde is doing that. If you're interested in learning more about what that Mercury retrograde is doing in Scorpio, I'm doing a video on Patreon, so you can hop on over to my Patreon if you want to see that. I would love to see you over there. We're going to go deep into that. But that's going to be the big thing that's modulating a lot of the energy for November. We also have a full moon in your third house in Taurus on the 12th, which is going to be highlighting how you want to express yourself, how you want to use your voice. Now, during a Mercury retrograde, you may be finding you're just workshopping that and you're thinking about it. And we also have a new moon in Sagittarius. Once the sun moves into Sagittarius, we're having all this infusion of energy into your fellow mutable sign, which is about your mission in life, your legacy, the way that you move through the world, your reputation, kind of how you step into a space. And so you're being called into that forward motion. Now, the message that came through for Pisces as I was sitting and I was just feeling through your energy is that there are a lot of little shifts taking place for Pisces, and those shifts are coming in little moments of contrast. And I don't want you to get discouraged by me saying that. It's a very good thing. I think that months like this, where you're refining your process, where you get little hits of contrast that help you notice when you are leaning more into 10 of Cups. Oh, I love it. When you are leaning maybe more into that side of yourself that's gotten a little skeptical or hardened. The Sun. Oh, wow. This is beautiful. That there's these little moments that help you realign to that. And there's these little moments that help remind you of that. Little angels working by you and through you all month long is one way to kind of think about it. Seven of Swords. Yeah, one thing I will say about Mercury retrogrades in general, no matter what sign it's in, we can sometimes feel a little bit like our messages get muddled, or like we have a hard time expressing what we really mean, and that can bring up some feelings of worry. King of Swords. Some feelings of uncertainty or nervousness around communication. Four of Pentacles. But as you can see, that Seven of Swords, Four of Pentacles, those are those little moments of contrast where you sit with it, you feel it, you notice the thought, and you notice that you want to come back into alignment. And that is really the function of this month for you. The World. All right. You have some really potent positivity here, but if, the best things can be happening in your life, and if you're still replaying fear stories or narratives that have been outdated for you for a long time, it will cloud your ability to see and perceive and receive, right? And so this month is kind of workshopping you to make sure you're checking in with that. Nine of Cups. All right, one more card, and then let's talk through these energies. Queen of Swords. Okay. Yeah, your throat chakra is important this month. The way you're expressing yourself, the way you're telling your own stories to yourself, just within yourself, is number one most important. But also in the way you're letting others know where you are in your journey, in the way that you are expressing your visions, in the way that you are sharing of yourself. There is a reworking going on here with that voice. So this is going to be a really great month for you to journal, to play with your ideas, to literally rewrite your narratives. I mean, really rewrite your mythology. And let's talk through this, because so 10 of Cups and the Sun, I love this, right? This is warmth, happiness, connection, play, creativity, vibrancy, growth, expansion, excitement, love. And all with that innocence, right? There's a lot of children in these cards. And there's a lot of that sense of play and skipping and running and jumping and not analyzing, right? Not sitting with our thoughts and repeating the same thoughts over and over again. Not sitting with, children don't have narratives they're repeating all the time. They pick them up. But like, you remember being a kid when you were like 6 and it was just a day out and it was like time to go play outside. You weren't running there. You were just coming up with new ideas. You were coming up with new stories. You were make-believing that this tree was a ship and you were going to be on the prow of it. You were make-believing this tree was a witch, or, you were drawing chalk symbols and seeing what would come of it, right? It's very visionary, dreamy energy. And Pisces, this is one of your strong suits. And this is really where the joy of life comes back in, is just remembering this vibrant joyfulness. Now, a lot of you will be connecting in with this energy and having an amazing time with it, falling in love, making new creative projects, starting new adventures. Like I said, Scorpio energy is really good for you. It's a very visionary energy for you. So even with a Mercury retrograde in that sign, it's still bolstering you up and taking you to these beautiful places. All that energy is. And this energy is very simple. It's playful. It's fantastical. It's not asking you to solve everything, right? It's easy. Armor is off. But the analytical voice is here, right? And it is wanting to come in and rationalize a whole bunch of stuff. And this is where that rewriting of the mythology is really important. Now, this voice that comes up, 7 of Swords, it's like, I have enemies, I need to disarm them, so I need to go get their weaponry in the middle of the night and sneak away. I need to make sure I'm looking over my shoulder. I need to make sure I'm covering all my bases. 4 of Pentacles is like, I don't have enough. If I make a change, if I just roll with this fantastical energy over here, things are going to fall apart. It's going to be scary. I don't know what's going to happen next. If I don't know what's going to happen next, how am I supposed to do this? Because as dreamy as you are, Pisces, as much as you do have fantasy in you, as much as you do have that ability to transcend the physical, you have also had to learn, and many of you have this, you have like an exoskeleton that you had to learn to put on to protect yourselves. And that exoskeleton has a lot of rational thought, a lot of negativity, and a lot of groundedness in it, right? And I'm not saying you are negative. I'm not saying you are grounded or awful, right? No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is this little voice, right? And it's in the form of this 7 of Swords and this 4 of Pentacles. And that voice is trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you from falling off the cliff edge, right? Which of course is not what the stakes actually are in the scenario whatsoever. And that's where the voice of rational King of Swords comes in here, right? Now, a true neutral rationality is not about negative thought, right? True neutrality, true being able to see things is going to say, these are neither good nor bad. There's no need to put a value judgment on them, but we can witness them. So this can be a great month if you feel these worries, these nerves coming up because things are expansive, because things are playful, because you're starting to believe in things again, and you're feeling your dreams come to life. If that's something and then you feel this sense that you need to self-protect, sit down and let that voice speak and write it out, like quite literally write it on the page. And this is something that's happening with Mercury retrograde as well, but really write this out on the page. Just see what it's saying. Oh, it just wants to do these things. Okay. oh, okay, this is a story that it's telling me. Well, that story isn't serving me anymore. So what story do I want to write? And that's where these three top cards come in. The World, a Nine of Cups, and the Queen of Swords. Now you have the King and Queen of Swords, and like I said, these are rational-minded energies. And I think when we think of rational, we're taught that rational is about being like, cut thoughts off at the knees, be practical, get your work done, put your hours in at the office, be consistent, and don't believe in anything, right? Like that's what we're taught rationality is. Is that really rational energy? Not necessarily. Rational thought isn't about thinking the negative stories that are going to happen and coming up with all the reasons things aren't going to work out, right? Like that isn't actually very rational, because 9 out of 10 times those negative things don't happen. So it's actually quite fantastical to be thinking in those terms, right? True neutrality does not have judgment base, right? So this King of Swords and this Queen of Swords are speaking to that part of yourself that can kind of float above all of this and look down and say, what's working for me? What are judgment calls? These swords, yes, they cut. They cut, and they also direct. They also open. And for you, these are very cerebral. So it is quite literally about rewriting your mythology and letting yourself have this goodness right here and this goodness right here. Because guess what? This is what's really surrounding you. But this month, because of the way it works, you may be finding that you feel like you can't see it, like you can't click with it, you can't connect with it. And that's because there's this reworking going on. Now, the World and the Nine of Cups, it's like a fresh world here. These are new beginnings. There is a well-rounded, well-oiled experience coming in here for you. You know, you are held, you are safe, you are expanding, you are connecting. And it's true with the energy working with you, with the World, and with these King and Queen of Swords, and with this clarifying energy that's coming in to work with you. It's true that there will be little moments where there's clarifying going on, because it'll be like checking in with that and checking in with that and realize, oop, that doesn't work. That doesn't work either. Okay, like, let's release it. That's going to be happening a lot during the month, but it doesn't have to be dramatic or over the top. It's just that as you transition into this World energy, into this Nine of Cups energy, things that aren't working gotta go. And it doesn't have to be big stuff either. It can just be like the time you go to bed and adding some morning pages in your routine in the morning, or adjusting your diet a little bit. I mean, little things like that, little points of contrast like that are going to be ultra powerful for you this month. Also, I just want to keep in mind, I want to come back to this again and again, that there's a lot of love around you, and there's a lot of creative hope and joy around you, and that is where that's where your soul is pulling you. That's where the good stuff is this month. So no matter what's going on this internal front, you can always take a breath and come back to that 10 of Cups, Sun energy, that World, 9 of Cups energy. I mean, look how beautiful that is, Pisces. I love it. It's very easy. It's very easy. These energies don't need you to be a watchdog in order to stick around. There isn't some preliminary course you have to go through in order to have that energy. And I think with the way that the energy works this month, you may be feeling a little nervous at times. I'm going to give you some affirmations to take with you this month so that you can feel through this energy and trust into it. Here we go. I am worthy of contentedness and alignment. I open myself to the security of knowing that higher guidance is working with me. I allow help to arrive in many forms and clear the path for me. I remember I am held by divine love at all times. This is a magical time. This is a mystical time. This can be a mystifying time. But in the end, it's really simple. Anything that is good for you will work. It will flow. It will be easy. Anything that feels heavy, burdensome, icky, is something that is asking to be released, is asking to shift and change and morph. And you will be noticing that refinement process going on. So, with that being said, you can find that Patreon discussion of the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio over there on Patreon. I will leave my link for that below. Thank you so much for those who have joined. It really means so much to me. I am opening up my calendar in 2020, but I haven't yet. If you want to be on the email notification list to sign up for a one-on-one reading with me, I will be letting those people who want to know that the calendar is open. I will probably be sending out that alert in December, so you can book a 2020 one-on-one reading with me. So if you're interested in being on the email list, you can send me an email and I will get you set up on that list. I would love to connect with you. You can also find me on Instagram at SARAHTAROT. I will leave all of my contact info and where to find me on Patreon and Instagram and on my website in the description box, so you can click on that. I'm also wearing PinkLune as always. I'm always wearing PinkLune. You can find her beautiful creations on her Etsy shop. I will leave her link below as well. I am sending you all my love for an amazing November full of love and creativity and potency, and I totally believe that by the end of this month you can really be in a new headspace and have released some of the spikes that maybe have snuck in to keep you protected during this quite impactful 2019 that we have had so far, and I think it will be a really powerful time. So I'm sending you so much love. I will see you in December for more goodness. Have a beautiful November, my beautiful Pisces clan.